Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Some people may join us as we go through this presentation, but my name is Brian Yeagley. I'm the College and Career Specialist at Annandale High School. I will put my email in the chat, so if you have questions for me at any time, you can feel free to reach out to me. Very pleased to have Sergeant Anderson here with us from the U.S. Marine Corps. So thank you, Sergeant Anderson, for joining us, and thank you for your service. As we go through this presentation, if you could please keep your mic muted, but if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat box and we'll get to them. And I've asked Sergeant Anderson if he can kind of, take some time to speak about the military in general, the benefits, what he enjoys about it, what benefits he gets from it, and any other information that he feels that would be important to share. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Sergeant Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Yeagley, for having me here as well. Good evening, everyone. So, pretty much what I'm going to talk about today is pretty much a career talk over the military in general. Now, what I'd like everyone to do is to pretty much, close your eyes, think of, what's next, whether that's the next football game or whether that's, applying for college or, deciding to pursue the military or deciding to join the workforce. Think of that next. Now, what I'd like you to do is pretty much unmute your mics and let me know what you're thinking of. So pretty much the three topics I'm going to talk to you about today is pretty much the process of enlisting into the military, what my experiences have been, as well as maybe some myths that you've heard. Now, what are some myths that some of you have heard about the military? Are you able to unmute, Sunny?
Hey, I'm sorry. My kids have issues, so I have to put it on mute. It's noisy around me, so if it's okay.
Oh, that's fine.
Thank you.
So pretty much going into it, what some of my experiences have been since I've been in the military. I've only been in for 5 years. Actually, I just hit my 6-year mark. That was roughly around July timeframe, and I do not regret any of it. And one of the biggest takeaways I take out of the military is pretty much that mentorship. Having those leaders, give you life lessons. Having those leaders get on top of you about completing college. Having those leaders that are gonna, be on your back about getting certifications and qualifications within your job field. Now, so I know the expectation, everyone feels the military is just strictly combat. It's completely opposite. So it pretty much breaks off into 2 different job fields. You can pretty much decide to go combat oriented, or you can decide to pick up a trade skill oriented. And what my trade skill is, I'm actually in aviation maintenance. So I work with the CH-53 Echoes. I never thought I'd see myself working with $5 billion aircraft or, being able to maintain one and fly on one. So that's just something I enjoy to do, and something that I can take outside of the Marine Corps to like work at either Microsoft or if I decide to work for an airline. Now, some different opportunities that the military can provide for you is those different trade skills. Anything that you can think of in the civilian world, you can pretty much do that in the military as well and take that out. And for anyone that is thinking, college, the military can pretty much work around your schedule with college. There's pretty much 2 programs you can decide to do. On active duty, it's pretty much like your full-time job. you're going to be able to pretty much get your classifications and certifications while working and getting those hands-on skills. And then at the same time, being able to revolve around the GI Bill and tuition assistance to help you pursue college. Now with the reserves, that allows you to be pretty much have that part-time obligation to the military. So you're able to go through the whole training pipeline. Pretty much after you're done with training, at that point, you come back to home, your home of record. And then if you decide to pick up college, you're pretty much able to do that while serving your part-time obligation in the military. Or if you decide that you want to pursue a trade skill like HVAC, electrician, construction, you're able to do that as well while having part-time obligation to the military. Now, some other things I like to go over, as well as different experience, those different qualifications and certifications within the military can pretty much transfer out to the civilian sector where, if you have a top secret security clearance or even a secret security clearance, that can pretty much be that gravel to the road and you getting that pretty much the job that you want, or even just stacking up all the qualifications that you get can pretty much carry out. There's numerous courses, whether, mentorship courses, different types of courses that actually teach you some leadership and management skills. It's going to help benefit you for your future when it comes time for you to like own a family business or, being able to be a part of a business and being like shift manager or, CEO. There's plenty of veterans, and specifically in the Virginia area, there's a whole lot of veterans that have started their own business, whether it's moving companies, local restaurants, that have like started their business through the Marine Corp and pretty much carried that on. And one of the biggest things that's getting pretty hot lately is real estate. So, that's always a good thing to take into too. Now, what I'm gonna talk about next is pretty much what the process to get into the military. So pretty much the initial process when you talk to your local representative, no matter what branch, Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines, you're gonna take an enlistment screening test. Now the enlistment screening test is pretty much a practice ASVAB, but it's only on 4 sections. And we use that to gauge, what you will score on the actual ASVAB. And anyone that takes that practice test tend to score 10 to 15 points higher on the ASVAB. So pretty much after taking that enlistment screening test, you then sit down with that recruiter and you're pretty much going to tell him what your goals, he or she, what your goals in life is. What kind of compliments are you trying to achieve? What kind of things that you're looking for out of the military that's going to help you be a better individual when you get out. And at that point, that's when the mentorship goes in place. They're no longer a recruiter. It pretty much goes into their mentorship phase. So whether you decide, to sit down with a representative and get some information, or, you decide the military is not for you, or if it's not, at that point, they're pretty much your mentor. So they're going to ensure and guide you to pretty much be on that path that you need to be successful. And so pretty much after you sit down with that recruiter and pretty much talk about your goals, your plans for the future, as well as your aspirations, at that point, if you decide the military is something you want to do, the next step after that is the military entrance processing station. That's pretty much a 2-day process. The first day, you'll take the ASVAB. The second day, you'll pretty much get a full physical as if you were playing like a sport. Once you're qualified both mentally and physically, you pretty much enter what is called a delayed entry program. Now, while you're in the delayed entry program, you're pretty much still attending high school. You're getting all the training you need, both physically and mentally, to help you, once you get to recruit training, pretty much help guide you so that you're well off on your own. Now, of course, you won't be able to go to recruit training until, you graduate high school. So I don't want anyone to think, you're enlisting and then you're leaving like next week, next day, or next month. So pretty much once you graduate, we pretty much have to validate that diploma, the high school diploma on our end. And then at that point, your recruit training ship date is solidified. And, once you go through the whole training pipeline, which is recruit training, after recruit training, you'll go immediately to your job school. And then from your job school, you're either hit the workforce, pretty much where you're living on base. And the benefits on living on base includes pretty much like housing on base. You get 4 square meals a day. The last square meal is like mid-rats if you're on night crew. And then, along with that, you have the tuition assistance, different qualifications and certification courses you can go to. And if you're deciding that, you want to pursue a sport while being in the military, we do have intramural sports as well. Anything you can think of: football, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, and a whole lot of individuals use the military to actually guide them to going pro. Now, along with that, if you're a reservist, pretty much after you've hit your job school, immediately you'll come back to your home of record. And from your home of record, whether you're waiting to pick up your first semester of college, or you're waiting to pick up, your first day at trade skill school, or, you have a solidified full-time job already, but you just want to pretty much build up your resume so you can get a management position. 2 days out of a month, that's your obligation to the military. Now, during the summer months, it's pretty much 1 week in June and 1 week in July as well. And then if there's a 6x2 year for reservists, or if you're utilizing that, it's a 6-year obligation as a part-time in the military. By that point, you'll get additional funds for tuition assistance. So pretty much today, we talked about, the experience in the military, as well as, the process of getting through the training. If you decide this is something you want to go get through. And, pretty much with that, I'm opening to any questions that anyone has.
So yeah, no, if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box if you'd like. And I have a few questions. So what is the service commitment? Like, are there different lengths of time? Like, can you do like 2 years, 4 years, a whole career? How does that work?
Are you talking about the time in service, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. That's actually a good question. So along with that, for active duty members, it's a 4-year obligation. However, if you're picking up a skill like cybersecurity, intel, or aviation maintenance, that can be a 5-year obligation, just because the schooling to get that additional training is extremely long. We want to make sure that you get all the training you need to pretty much make you resilient to any broken parts that you have to replace, that you know how to do it to the best of your ability. Now with reservists, you have the 4, 5, and 6 year. The difference between each for the 6-year reservist is pretty much for anyone solely based on college or a trade skill. The 5-year is kind of like that, that in between. You kind of want to travel and be able to like see a bunch of different places while staying home locally and coming back. And then the 4-year is pretty much like your inactive reserves. So you're pretty much attached to an active duty unit. Pretty much wherever they go, you'll go. So if you go on like a small detachment to Ohio or Florida, you pretty much go there along with them. And then at that point, you're pretty much transferred over to active duty pay and able to rank up those funds.
Okay, great. And can you, so let's say you do like the 4-year commitment, the minimum, can you add on like another year, or do you have to do like, is it like you have to add on another 5 years, or how does that work? Like if you want to extend your service?
Okay, that's a good question too. So pretty much after your 4-year, typically it's 3 years, because that last year in the military, they want you to solely focus on getting yourself ready to get out. So they're going to give you a whole bunch of different skill bridge programs that you can do. And that's your opportunity to pick up a trade skill and a different field, other than the one that you're currently doing. If you decide that you want to re-enlist in the Marine Corp, at that point, it stacks up another 4 years. And then, anything after is pretty much every 4 years. Now, if you're a careerist, at some point in time, you will have to do a B billet. And pretty much what a B billet is just like, being a drill instructor, being a recruiter, or being like a security guard of some sort. And that's pretty much for, anyone that's looking to, make the military a 20-year or so on career.
Okay, great. Thank you. And
sorry.
I'll go for it.
I was more interested in the ROTC program, but I guess it's just for the active or reservist. You have a program besides. Don't have anything for the information for ROTC.
Okay, that's a perfect question. So actually right now we are currently looking for NRTC recipients. So pretty much for the qualifications, of course, I'm where the gravel meets the road. So if you find anyone interested in the NRTC scholarship, they'll pretty much have to contact me. And through that, I'll have to physically and mentally screen them out. Now, if they've taken the SAT, the ACT, or if they've taken the ASVAB at the school or at the military entrance processing station, those are one of 4 requirements that you will need to pretty much qualify for the NRTC scholarship. At that point, I'll forward you to my executive officer, and he'll pretty much ask you some screening questions, and then you'll have to run a physical fitness test, which includes pull-ups or push-ups, crunches, and the 3-mile run. So we have 3 boards. We have one in the fall, one in the spring, one in the spring, and then one in the early summer. At that point, by the end of that spring, that's when you'll find out if you're qualified for that NRTC scholarship. And pretty much statistics show we weren't able to pull the ones for last year, but the year before, out of the area of Fairfax, 4 of them came out of Fairfax, out of the 11 applicants for the fall semester. So those are pretty good. I would recommend the fall time, and the reason why I would, because you have 3 opportunities to apply for it. If you wait towards the spring or the summer, at that point, you kind of limit yourself down to how many times you can apply for it.
Thank you. And Sunhee, were you also asking about the ROTC program?
Yeah, ROTC.
ROTC, okay.
Okay.
And I can speak to that to Sergeant Anderson a little bit. So they do offer the junior ROTC or junior ROTC program. It's not offered at Annandale High School, but we do have students that participate. I think Edison is the closest high school to Annandale that offers it. It's too late for this year, but if you have a son or daughter that's interested in doing it, if they're not a senior this year and they want to do it next year, I can definitely get you more information about registering for the junior ROTC next year.
Yeah, that's great. I have a kids for the 11th and 12th grade.
Okay.
So she 11th grade is more into with the ROTC program. I am under 12, 12, not yet, but yeah, it's good to know all the information if I can.
Yeah, and like I said, I forgot to mention, I'm going to put my email in the chat box for you. Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, that will be great.
Okay. So then, yeah, you can email me and I can give you more information. But as I mentioned, unfortunately, the ROTC, junior ROTC program has already started for the semester, or for the year, I should say. So, but if you're a junior child would like to look into it for next year, you can definitely email me. I just emailed you or sent you a message with my email address, so you can contact me at any time and we can discuss it more. Is it a son or daughter that's a junior?
Daughter.
Okay, so you can tell your daughter if she wants to stop by my office. It's room 103. And I can meet with her if she'd want to discuss it more, or if you both want to come in and talk about it, you can email me as well.
Sure. It's a youth junior ROTC. Are you talking about in a high school as being a ROTC, or just to get into the college as a ROTC program?
Oh, I got you. I was talking about the junior ROTC program that students can do in high school. You want to know about college ROTC program?
Yeah, I also need to know the college ROTC program as well.
Okay. That one is, I know less about because that's more, it's school by school. Sergeant Anderson, I don't know if you know anything about the RTC programs in colleges.
Yes, sir, I can actually touch up on that.
Okay,
So
great.
with the NRTC scholarship, you actually have to apply for 5 schools that have the program. One of those 5 schools is Virginia Tech, that offers, any kind of military RTC, whether it's Army, you're looking into Naval, Air Force, even Marines as well. Now, if your, son or daughter decide to pursue RTC while in college, but they don't have the scholarship, just because they take the program will not cover their funds. Now, what they can do is, their first or second semester in college, they can apply for the NRTC scholarship while they're pursuing it. But taking the course itself does not signify that they're getting all of their college paid for. Does that answer your question?
Sorry, I thought it's on mute. So are you talking about, so just get into the college first, and then after the first semester, they do have an option if they want to join for the RTC program as second semester or the second year of the college. There's no other options for as entrance for the college. They don't have a study with the RTC program.
So they can pick the course up immediately as soon as they go to college, and pretty much do college RTC for, all 4 years of their college.
Did I make a misunderstand, or I am not sure, but it sounds like they can apply as ROTC program, enter the college. Or they go college first and then enter for the after the first semester, second semester, they can just request it as a ROTC program you're talking about?
Now, are you regarding the scholarship or the RTC program as a whole?
Looking for the scholarship as a
Okay.
ROTC program as enter beginning of the college.
Okay, perfect. So with the RTC's program itself, they can sign up for the program. Whenever they get their sign up sheets or go to their college counselors, they can sign up for the program in college. Now, with the NRTC scholarship, if they weren't able to, pretty much obtain it while they're in their senior year of high school, they do have that opportunity freshman and sophomore year to pretty much reapply for that scholarship while they're undergoing the course.
Yeah, I was looking
Oh,
for the college website, and then I'm looking for the program with the as a ROTC program. Well, I found some colleges, they do have offer once you get into the college, and then you can apply for later on. But I am more interested with to get a scholarship as a ROTC, get into the college with that.
so there are some colleges where you actually do require a full ride scholarship to get into it. Some of them are like West Point. Um, there's also another one in Massachusetts. That's actually one I applied to whenever I was a senior. Um, those major military installation colleges, you actually do need a scholarship to get into. However, colleges like Virginia Tech, you're pretty much able to add RTC into your schedule without even having the scholarship. And then if you decide that you want to apply for the scholarship during your freshman or sophomore year, at that point, you're able to apply for it while you're taking the course. And then pretty much, be able to utilize that to pay for the rest of your college.
All right, good, thank you.
But along with that, there is a 10-year obligation upon completing college pretty much after you get your bachelor's degree.
Understand.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
I mean, that was a great question, and thank you for clarifying that, Sergeant Anderson. Because I didn't know the answer to that. And so it's more you get into the college first, and then you do the ROTC program. You don't you need to be accepted first, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then if you do the ROTC program throughout college, they pay your tuition, but then you have a 10-year service commitment. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Perfect. And then do you know of any other schools? I went to Virginia Tech, so go Hokies, but are there any other schools that in Virginia that you're aware of that offer it? Like I assume VMI does.
Mm. So that I will have to do a little bit more research on.
Okay.
From the previous years, the top 3 schools I've seen everyone apply to is Virginia Tech, Duke University, and UVA as well. So those are the only 3 that our tracking were very popular.
Okay. It's good to know. And Soon-Hee, do you have any other questions? And like I said, you got my email address in the chat.
I got it, so I'll try to contact you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And thanks for the great questions.
Oh yeah.
And just real quickly, since we're recording this, can you talk a little bit more about the ASVAB, like what it is, and since we have a couple minutes, and like the benefits of taking the ASVAB for people that don't know what that is?
Yes, sir. I can do that. So pretty much what the ASVAB is, it is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. So 4 of the sections, 2 of the sections are broken down in reading, arithmetic, reasoning, as well as math knowledge. And then the other 2 sections is broken down into paragraph comprehension and word knowledge. Those 4 sections alone are going to be the big chunks to your score. Now, along with that, the other 6 sections towards the ASVAB, they pretty much aim around mechanical, electrician, and clerical skills. And that's pretty much how you figure out, what jobs in the military you qualify for. So if you're like really solid in mechanics and, mechanical is something you want to pursue and, either the workforce or something in college or, even in the military, you at least know you're really good at mechanical. Or even if you're not sure, what you're good at, you can actually use the ASVAB to see, what kind of piques your interest, what career skill piques your interest. So I know a lot of students, they utilize the ASVAB to pretty much, see exactly what they like doing if they aren't too sure. And then, at that point, they know what kind of career option they're looking to take. And I pretty much, what I think about the ASVAB, I think of it as like a guideline for students to see, what careers they're exactly trying to get into, specifically with college. If they're deciding that, hey, I want to go to college and, there's something I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, then, the ASVAB would be a good recommendation so that they can find out. So with mechanical, it pretty much breaks down to aircraft mechanic or, even ground vehicle mechanic. Your electrician, you're pretty much doing electrician in the military, either on buildings, it can be aircraft as well as vehicles as well. And then your clerical skills, those are going to be like your administrative and logistic jobs. So pretty much like Amazon, or accounting or personnel accounting as well. Now, after you get pretty much the score ranges from 31 to 99. 31 is being the lowest that you can make to pretty much qualify for the military, and 99 is the highest you can take. At that point, a lot of job opportunities are open for you. Now, what also accounts into like what job opportunities are open for you is, do you have a driver's license? Are you colorblind? Are you specific height? Are you tall or short? So those are kind of some things that taking an effect to, what kind of job is open for you.
Okay, great. No, that's really good information because, you know, I think a lot of students don't know what the ASVAB is, and, you know, it's another great a tool students can use if they're not sure, you know, what they want to major in. Like you were saying, you know, it's can kind of give them a better idea of what where their skill sets are and what they're good at. So I appreciate you clarifying that as well.
Yes, sir. Now, were y'all able to schedule one this year for Annandale?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm hoping that I think there is one on the books, but as soon as we find out, I'll advertise it to students. You
That
know,
sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, if you need help setting that up, and what I can do all up on my end is I can actually submit the paperwork to pretty much have the school submit it. The only thing I have to have the school fill out is, you know, what date they're looking to take it and some general information about it. And then at that point, I push it out to my executive officer. They pretty much publish the books for the ASVAB, for the students to take the ASVAB. And then at that point, you can get like teachers or other recruiters to pretty much be proctors for it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we will set that up and I'll advertise to students so that they know about it. So looks like we're pretty much out of time for this session. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to end the group.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the great questions. I appreciate it.